Chapter
NK
161, Sunscreen.
So Phong raised his head and drank several gulps. The coconut water was refreshing. After a few more sips he commented softly, "Not bad at all." He handed the coconut to the girl, then used the chopping knife to split two more, and both drank heartily.
The coconut meat is crisp, very tasty. Van Han tore off a white piece of coconut meat and chewed it. She wondered if she should dry the coconut meat later and make it a snack. The girl nodded slightly, planning to refill with coconut water once her bamboo tube was empty.
They came to the iron pot. The seawater inside had evaporated by 2/3, thickening and beginning to crystallize. Van Han threw coconut husks into the fire, gazing at the golden beach inside. "It is so hot outside, I want to see if there is any seaweed."
"Then let us make some sunscreen." So Phong glanced at the blazing sun and smiled. "Use the coconut." He tapped the empty shell with a secretive smile. Van Han frowned, doubtful. "So Phong, can coconuts block the sun?" "Coconuts can block the sun? In the wild, sunscreen?"
"I only know of boars covering themselves with mud."
"Earlier you played as a werewolf, I admire that."
"I have notes prepared, this time more reliable than the toothbrush lesson."
"Did someone contact a factory again?" "So Phong, stop stalling, tell us now." "I am curious, how can coconuts block the sun? By smearing the juice all over." "Of course, try it and you will see."
So Phong confidently chopped the husk in half. He scraped the inside with a bamboo ladle, faster and faster, until the coconut flesh turned into a milky mush. The girl watched in surprise, still unable to see how this made sunscreen. He pressed the pulp, and drops of cloudy liquid fell into the husk, until no more dripped. The liquid was little, just enough to fill a palm. "Good, spread this on your skin and it will protect you." He shook his hand coated with oil and handed the husk to her. It was coconut oil squeezed from the meat. Van Han accepted in amazement. "Ah, what is this? Can it really block the sun?" "Of course, this is coconut oil, spread it on and it will protect your skin." So Phong explained, keeping the system secret. "Coconut oil also works as skin care and even hair care." "So Phong, how did you know this?" Van Han squinted suspiciously. "I once read it in a magazine, thought it was strange and remembered it." So Phong widened his eyes and lied. "Let me try." Van Han trusted him, spreading some on her bare skin. "So Phong, it really does not sting now." She waved her hand, the sunburned pain eased. "Still, do not stay out too long, search for seaweed, then return quickly," he warned, watching the salt form in the pot. "I know," she replied, bending to search between rocks with her basket. Seeing her figure, he smiled, adding more husks to the fire, the pot nearly dry, salt crystals at the bottom. After a while, the water fully dried, leaving only salt. He scraped it out with a bamboo ladle and stored it in bamboo. Where did the coconut meat go? He muttered at the burning husks. Could something have eaten it? Suddenly he froze, then hurried to a tree, crouching to check the roots. "So Phong, look what I found!" Van Han shouted from afar. He came over. She was standing beside a pile of seaweed covering rocks. It was seaweed rolls. She lifted a strand, shook it and said happily, "See, there are so many seaweed rolls." "Not bad, this trip is worth it." He accepted it, finding it already clean. Seaweed rolls were rich in protein, carbohydrates, vitamins, and minerals, very nutritious. "We can cook seaweed soup later." To Van Han, new food was joy. "Good, let us see what else can be eaten." He smiled, wiping drops from her face. "I also found some sea snails and large seaweed pieces." She showed the basket with several snails and seaweed slabs. "I will search for more snails." He bent to look among the rocks. "I will keep these seaweed rolls." She carefully picked them and placed them in her basket. After a while he found only 2 snails, but many clams. He ran back to the coconut grove, added husks to the fire, then returned with his chopping knife to crack the clams.
Chapter 162, Coconut Crab.
These sea snails can be eaten later, the rest can be dry for storage. So Phong turned to the girl and spoke, shaking his hand in the basket full of shells.
Van Han thought for a moment and said hesitantly, if we roast seaweed, can it become dried nori? It should be possible.
So Phong replied uncertainly. Then I will pick all of these, take them back to try.
Van Han eagerly turned and buried herself in harvesting seaweed. So Phong chuckled softly and bent down to keep digging for shells.
After half an hour, they carried the basket back to the coconut trees, the sun blazed and the air burned.
Drink some water quickly.
So Phong handed her a bamboo tube with care. He noticed her cheeks were flushed, clearly from too long under the sun. Coconut oil could not compare to sunscreen.
All right.
Van Han took the tube, drank a few sips, and her flushed face eased.
Do not go out again, let us cook here.
So Phong took back the tube, lifted his head and drank more water. The girl nodded, poured salt into another tube, added some water in the pot to prepare lunch.
So Phong set down the tube and said, Van Han, do not run around, I will check the coconut grove.
I know, but you be careful too. Van Han replied casually, tossing coconut shells into the fire, starting to handle shells and seaweed. His eyes swept the ground, stopping at the roots of a coconut tree after dozens of meters.
Just as I thought.
His eyes lit up at a large hole at the tree's root.
Another delicacy. He smirked, thrusting the chopping blade inside, feeling something move. Suddenly the blade was clamped, he pulled hard, dragging out a huge orange-red crab. It is a coconut crab,
he exclaimed, quickly stepping on it.
NK Books.
Coconut crabs are giant hermit crabs, reaching 1 meter long, weighing up to 6,000, feeding on coconut flesh.
That is why many shells here were empty. This one is big.
He crouched, looked at the half-meter long crab struggling, and tied it tightly with rope, his eyes gleaming with delight. He searched again and soon found another hole, repeated the method, and probed.
Seems today is a harvest.
He smiled lightly, sensing another inside. This time it stayed hidden, so he dug the hole as wide as a basket.
Inside crouched an even larger one. He hesitated, knowing its claws were strong.
After several tries, he bound it tight, his second catch.
Done.
He called out, leading the 2 crabs back, planning to eat then return.
So Phong, what are you carrying? Van Han stared wide-eyed at the huge red crabs. Why are they so oddly big?
The live viewers were also noisy, the director switched the camera to them.
So quickly, he caught another? Looks like a giant red spider. Ignorant, that is clearly a turtle.
It is a crab, those before should check their eyes. I know, that is a coconut crab, tastes like lobster.
Brother, have you tried? These two look more like a food show than survival.
This is called coconut crab, the largest land crab, it feeds on coconuts. Hamin explained, swallowing, recalling its delicious taste.
I am curious what it tastes like, seems so Phong eats better than me, makes me want to try.
No Tin Noyet rested her chin on her hand, eyes full of longing. Hamin pressed his lips, forbidden to say more by the director. Tai Vai Din pursed her lips, she had eaten coconut crab often. Von Lam sat quietly, determined not to speak, keeping his handsome image.
Teacher Vong.
No Tin Noyet turned to him.
I need the toilet. Vong Lam rose and left. Looks like he has held it long.
Hamin laughed, shifting the subject.
The comments poured in. Haha, the expert escaped with toilet jutsu, avoiding the goddess's attack. He surely has trauma. Pity him 3 seconds, 1, 2, 3. Chapter 163, Becoming Food Bloggers. This is coconut crab, later I will cook one for you to taste fresh. So Phong smiled and said. It is said that its hind legs taste similar to lobster tail.
He had heard that coconut crabs were extremely rare, far more precious than lobsters.
Ah, really?
I have never known what lobster tastes like.
Van Han's bright eyes filled with anticipation.
She had tasted small shrimp before, but never lobster. Just wait and you will know, after eating we will catch more, there should be many coconut crabs here. So Phong gently patted the girl's head. Behind him stood tall coconut trees, the ground littered with cracked shells, the perfect environment for coconut crabs, so he guessed their number must be plentiful.
Eat some clams first, if not enough then cook the crab.
Van Han playfully poked the shell and said.
All right.
So Phong moved 2 stones over, they sat and started eating.
In the pot simmered clams, seaweed rolls and seaweed.
After more than 20 minutes, the seafood and rolls were finished.
Cook the coconut crab now, let's try the taste. So Phong took one from the basket and handed it to Van Han.
He knew she was only half full, 1 crab would be enough.
Okay.
Her cheeks flushed, she caught the heavy crab and exclaimed.
So Phong, this crab weighs 2 or 3 kilos? About that.
So Phong nodded, many common crabs weighed that much, some could reach 7 or 8 kilos.
Let's cook it, I still have a little fresh water. Van Han shook the bamboo tube, just enough to cook one. Use the fresh water, later we can drink coconut water.
So Phong looked at the coconuts piled nearby. She nodded, washed the pot in seawater, scrubbed the crab with sand, then brought it back. The pot was set on the stone stove, she poured in all the fresh water, covering half the crab.
That should be enough.
She muttered, adding shells to the fire, the flames rose brightly. After more than 10 minutes, the water boiled hard, the shell turned deep red. The crab struggled a bit then stopped moving.
Cook a little longer, it is not done yet.
She said softly, stirring with a bamboo spoon, her eyes full of expectation. So Phong chopped coconuts, poured the juice into tubes, scraped the flesh to dry for snacks or soup.
So Phong, it is ready.
Van Han poked the crab that was red all over.
Pour out the water first. So Phong drained the pot, leaving the steaming crab. He broke off a leg and gave it to her. She blew on it quickly before biting. Crunch! Mum!
She chewed happily, her eyes shining with joy.
She raised her thumb. So Phong, it tastes so good.
They ate eagerly, while viewers online were restless, comments flooded in.
Oh my, I am hungry too, I want coconut crab. Why are they always eating, is this really survival? Please, others are starving. Strongly request you two to become food bloggers.
In the wild they can eat coconut crabs worth hundreds per kilo, in the city I cannot even dream.
Delicious. So Phong also broke a leg, the meat came out easily, it tasted wonderful.
So this is lobster tail flavor.
Van Han sighed, eating another bite. Crunch.
So Phong cracked the rest, pried open the shell, revealing yellow roe. He scooped some for her.
Try the roe.
She savored it carefully, then smacked her lips.
Much tastier than the meat. Suddenly I feel life in the wild is not bad. So Phong sighed, eating more roe.
In the city, coconut crabs were too expensive.
Later we catch 2 more, for tomorrow. Van Han licked her finger, full of hope. Alright, you eat the rest, I am full. So Phong brushed his hands, drank coconut water. So Phong, are you really full? She asked doubtfully. Then I will eat it all.
She licked her lips and continued until only shells were left.
I will get seawater for salting, then we will catch more. She carried the pot to the beach.
Soon she returned with half a pot of seawater, placed it on the stone stove. They took rope and an axe, and headed back into the coconut forest.
Second watch, please support, please subscribe. Chapter 164, No Meat Turns Silly.
In the bamboo forest, Lu Yimeng and Lu Yizhu were catching bamboo rats, using the fierce method they had thought of 2 days ago, digging them directly out of the burrow.
Sister, can we catch bamboo rats today?
Lu Yimeng held a sharp bamboo stick, squatting before a burrow as wide as her thigh, digging hard. She pushed back the sweat-soaked hair on her forehead, Mud on her hands left 3 streaks across her cheek. Louis Zhu also squatted before another burrow, stabbing the ground with bamboo, answering without looking back, "We should be able to."
"Sister, I want to eat meat." Lu Yimeng cried weakly, still digging.
They had gone 2 days without meat, surviving on mangoes and wild vegetables boiled in soup, digging burrows yet catching none. Louis Zhu snapped, "If you want meat, dig faster, or else we will eat wild vegetables again tonight." Thinking about that, both sisters felt their heads heavy and their mouths bitter.
"For meat, dig!" Lu Yiming shouted, speeding up, enlarging the burrow. "Sister, your voice is louder than mine."
Lu Yiming clutched her head, aggrieved.
"No." Louis Zhu answered firmly. "Yes, it is."
"What did you say?"
"Nothing."
After a while, they looked at the chaotic bamboo grove, no rats caught, but their faces and clothes were smeared like beggars. "If someone gives me a piece of meat now, I will marry him."
Lu Yiman lay on the ground, exhausted. Louis Zhu rolled her eyes, shameless.
In the live room, viewers went crazy, flooding comments.
"Come out, marry me, my family raises chickens, chicken is tastier than pork. My family has a coconut grove, full of coconut crabs. Are you wholesaling? I am turning into a lemon spirit.
I keep 3 lovers, does that count?"
"Beaten, coconut crabs wholesale, I lose, goodbye." Lu Yiming propped herself up, serious, "Sister, if I marry, you will have meat. Out here in the wilderness, who will you marry?" Louis Zhu tapped her head. "Only you are here, give me meat, I will marry you." Lu Yiming stared blankly.
Louis Zhu rolled her eyes again, tapped her head once more.
Minutes later, Lu Yiming hugged her head, still digging, pitiful, "Sister, I don't think we can catch rats today, let's dig some bamboo shoots instead?" "Ah."
Louis Zhu sighed, "Dig then, shoots are deeper this season, dig carefully."
"Sister, bamboo shoots are tasty too, we can dry them for storage." Lu Yimeng muttered, still digging.
"But shoots are hard to dig now."
Louis Zhu shook her head. She stood, glaring at her sister digging beside the rat burrow. "Lu Yimeng, do you think bamboo shoots grow beside rat burrows?" Lu Yimeng froze, confused, "Don't they?"
"Fool, even if they did, rats would eat them while digging."
Louis Zhu rolled her eyes.
"So where do we dig?"
Lu Yimeng asked.
"Go to the other side of the grove."
Louis Zhu pointed. They squatted and kept digging. After half an hour, Lu Yiming cried, "Sister, I found shoots." "Good, dig deeper, pull out the roots."
Louis Zhu calmly replied, though she still longed for rat meat, after 2 meatless days.
10 minutes later, Lu Yiming pulled a whole shoot, 30 centimeters long. "Sister, look, whole shoot." Lu Yiming shook it proudly. Crack!
Before Louis Zhu turned, the shoot broke in half. Time flew, by dusk they only had 4 shoots, all small.
"Let's go, it's unsafe when dark." Louis Zhu leaned on bamboo, legs numb. Thud. Ouch. Lu Yiming clutched her forehead, holding bamboo for balance. Seeing her sister so clumsy, Louis Zhu sighed. Was this silliness from hunger? She picked up the shoots. "Take the bow and arrows, let's go back." "Got it." Lu Yiming grabbed weapons, following. "Sister, why stop?" Lu Yiming asked. Louis Zhu pointed. "Look, a bamboo rat, I'll give you one more chance, shoot it."
It was a rat as big as a kettle, cautiously poking its head.
"This time I'll hit." Lu Yiming vowed, drawing the bow. Louis Zhu held the shoots tight, muttering, "It must hit, it must." Whoosh! The arrow flew, striking the rat's head. "Sister, I hit, I finally did." Lu Yimeng cheered. "Tonight we have meat soup."
Louis Zhu sighed, proud of her sister's first real hunt.
Chapter 165, Simple Homemade Soap. Rustle. We are home.
So Phong carried a huge bundle of bamboo out of the forest. In front of him was a camp of thorn bushes. On his shoulder were about 10 bamboo trunks as thick as calves, weighing more than 100 caddies in total. After eating coconut crabs by the shore, the two went into the coconut forest. Under So Fong's search, in half an hour they caught 2 more coconut crabs. In the afternoon, when the sun was gentler, they packed up, went to the bamboo beach, tied a big bundle with rope and brought it back. Finally here, this time we harvested a lot.
Van Han panted, squatted down and put down the basket.
So tired, let us rest a bit. So Phong helped her lower the basket. How could you be tired? All the bamboo was carried by you, at least 150 caddies, you bore it all. Van Han pouted, eyes full of concern. She helped him sit by the water ditch, her slender fingers pressing his shoulder, gently massaging. Sit still. Van Han pursed her lips, pressing his shoulder, not letting him move. Yesterday he carried more than 200 caddies of wild boar, today more than 100 of bamboo for more than an hour. Who would believe he was not tired? After more than 10 minutes, he patted her hand. Enough, it is getting dark.
Then I will wash the seaweed first.
She looked at the sky, released his shoulder, sorted the basket, put 3 tied coconut crabs in another basket, then poured rice rolls and seaweed into the ditch to wash. So Phong saw her busy, went back to light a fire, waiting to remove the salt. After more than 10 minutes, the fire rose. Van Han returned after washing.
She set down the crab basket, closed the thorn gate, sat by the fire and asked, So Phong, are you going to remove the salt?
Yes, pork must be salted. He nodded, poured salt from bamboo into a clay jar, added water, and stirred.
Let me help.
She took the bamboo spoon and stirred. He washed the tool, added new charcoal, cleaned until water ran clear. She remembered the bird egg and asked, So Phong, the salt is dissolved, I will filter it. What about the egg?
Reminded, he remembered, used to test lye strength. He lifted the clay jar.
Test for what? She was puzzled, stopped stirring.
To make soap.
He smiled, carefully poured the clean layer into bamboo.
Soap from ash water?
She was surprised.
Not only that, add pork fat too.
He explained, telling her how ancient people mixed ash and fat, discovered it could clean, thus invented soap.
Soap from ash and pork fat?
She was amazed.
This is the simplest method. He said. So soap is like that, new knowledge. I knew long ago. First toothbrush, then loom, now soap, next will you make humans? Be kind, the lowly is mine, none can take her.
Take the notebook, prepare a factory. Not only pork fat, vegetable oil too, as long as pure enough, can make soap.
He picked the egg to test.
If it floats or sinks fully, the lye is not right. He explained, the egg must suspend in the middle. He gently dropped the egg, it sank then floated mid-water.
Look, it is suspended. Van Han shouted. Good, lye strength is enough. He nodded, scooped pork oil, poured into bamboo, now stir until thick.
He stirred, ash water and fat merged, becoming thick. He poured into a clay bowl, just full.
Is soap finished?
She sniffed, no smell. Leave 2 days to set, then we will see. He put the bowl at the hot edge, away from fire.
So good, if it works, we can wash hair with soap.
She said happily, stroking her shiny hair.
Chapter 166, The Girl's Wish.
So Phong, look quickly, a shooting star. Van Han lifted her head, her eyes shining as she looked out from the wooden hut, seeing a streak of light dart across the sky. She had just finished filtering sea salt, the iron pot still boiling, waiting for the next batch to make edible salt.
Where is it?
So Phong also looked up, eyes searching the sky, but after a while he saw nothing and turned back to her. Van Han clasped her hands at her chest, head raised toward the starry heavens, murmuring prayers softly. Seeing her like that, So Phong asked curiously.
Van Han, what wish did you make? I won't tell you.
Van Han stuck out her tongue playfully, then pretended to be serious.
The headmaster said, wishes must not be spoken, otherwise they cannot come true.
When she was little in the orphanage, the headmaster told her to make a wish upon a shooting star, and it would come true. Of course I know that was a shooting star, not a comet, I can tell the difference.
Van Han pouted, glaring at him. Comets trail a long blowing tail, so long ago people believed they brought disaster. Tack tack tack.
So Phong chuckled, squatting to grind a wild boar tusk in his hand. Yesterday they had killed a boar, its two tusks nearly 10 centimeters long, as thick as 3 fingers, and he planned to make short blades. For now they only had a wood chopping knife, but 2 tusk blades would help in cooking, cutting herbs, or slicing meat.
When the wish comes true, you will know.
Van Han laughed, stirring the salty water with a bamboo spoon, letting it boil faster since they still had not eaten.
All right.
So Phong rolled his eyes, seeing her act mysterious. Half an hour later, the salty water thickened, steam rising faster with heat. The salt was placed in a clay bowl to cool, then would be rubbed on boar meat to preserve it longer. She took a wooden board, cut the boar's tail into chunks, and tossed in a piece of meat. Soon the water boiled over, she added herbs and mushrooms, hesitated, then also threw in 2 crabs caught earlier at the stream. Those crabs had been kept in a bamboo basket in the water, now she remembered.
Her lovely face flushed, she tasted the soup and smiled with delight. The flavor is quite good, ready to eat.
The 2 sat on wooden stools, eating and chatting, enjoying the stew. Soon the late meal was done, she cleaned up, then rubbed dry salt on the boar meat.
Afterward she sat weaving rope, chatting with him about life from the orphanage to school. All right, you should bathe and rest now. So Phong set down the tusk. The night grew late and colder. Okay. Van Han nodded and went to prepare water. He looked at the wooden bed frame, stood to finish building it. Crack crack. He chopped bamboo, split it into thin boards, smoothing the nodes. After more than 10 minutes, Van Han returned from bathing and asked, "Are you finishing the bed tonight?" "Yes, tonight we will have a proper bed." He smiled, the boards already enough. He laid them across the frame, tied them with rope so they would not shift when sleeping. "Let me tie this end." Van Han helped. They worked together, and after over 20 minutes the large bamboo bed, nearly 2 meters long and 1.8 wide, was complete. Done, perfect. So Phong clapped his hands, satisfied. "Let me try." Van Han sat on the edge, rocking it slightly, finding only minor wobble. So Phong lay down, rolled twice, bouncing to test, and the bed barely moved. Very sturdy, better than the rented bed before. Van Han smiled gently. Back in the rented room, the old bed creaked and shook with every turn, so she dared not move. "Bring the sleeping bag, I will place it," he said. "Yes." She nodded quickly, fetched it. He carried the large bed into the shelter, fitting it snugly. Completely filled. She looked at the small space, now feeling safer. "In a few days we will build a new shelter, more spacious." He sighed, the current one only temporary. He had decided, if nothing urgent, to finish the new shelter, build the walls before rain, then fire them like pottery. "Sleep now, it's late." He spread the sleeping bag and reminded her. Chapter 167, The Doe Eats Her Young. She stretched her tired back, climbed onto the big bed, slipped into the sleeping bag, and tried rolling once inside. Got it. Seeing the girl wriggle in the bag, Phong chuckled, turned around, and stacked the leftover bamboo neatly aside. After a short while, with hair still damp, Phong returned to the wooden hut, scratching his head and muttering, "I will grind a bit more, wait for the hair to dry, then sleep." Crack, crack. He took the boar tusk and kept grinding, not stopping until the moon stood high. Ah. Still a little short, continue tomorrow. He yawned, set down the shaped short blade, and went to wash his hands. He dried his hands, carefully climbed into bed, and slipped back into the sleeping bag. No. Van Han stirred, pressed close, and clung to him like an octopus. Sleep.
Suafong smiled, wrapped an arm around her waist, and slowly closed his eyes. As they drifted off, the camp grew silent, only a few torches still flickered gently in the breeze.
After one watch.
Chit chit chit. A sudden sound rang out.
No. Suafong woke, eyes drowsy, tilted his head and whispered, "What is it?"
Van Han gave no answer, pursed her lips, and dozed again, so he yawned and prepared to sleep.
Chit chit chit. Ha!
He snapped awake, listening with caution. His face turned stern, the sound seemed to come from the wooden shed, maybe some animal had slipped into the shelter. In the wild, any anomaly must be checked at once, or trouble comes too late. He gently moved the girl's limbs off him, slipped from the bag, took the bamboo bough, and walked toward the shed. Entering the shed, he swept his gaze around while pricking up his ears.
Chit chit chit. Ah, a rabbit.
Hearing clearly, he looked over and found the noise came from the bamboo cage. He lit a bamboo torch, knelt beside the cage, and the firelight revealed the scene within. On the bed, Van Han reached for the familiar body and, finding none, fully awoke. She rubbed her eyes, glanced around, saw Suafong, and asked, "Suafong, what are you doing?"
"The doe just gave birth,"
he answered over his shoulder.
In the bamboo cage were 4 grown rabbits and 7 kits. One mother lay on the grass, 7 newborn kits nursing at her belly.
The other 3 grown rabbits, eyes red and wide, hid in a corner, frightened by the torch.
Ah, really? Van Han blinked sleepily, slow to react.
She spaced out for a beat, then hurried off the bed, even forgetting her jacket.
"Do not speak loudly, you will scare the doe." Suafong lowered his voice.
She recalled biology class, where the teacher said a startled doe after delivery might eat her young, and one must not touch the kits with hands carrying strange scents, or they might be eaten. Gazing at the hairless kits, Van Han shivered slightly. No fur, they look so ugly. Suafong chuckled, hairless kits do look a bit ugly, after a few days the fur will sprout.
"Should we separate them to raise?" Van Han asked softly.
"Yes, move the 3 adults elsewhere, keep the mother and kits here."
He nodded.
He bent down, grabbed the 3 adults by the ears, and shifted them into another bamboo cage. Seeing the wriggling kits, they almost pictured a platter of rabbit meat arriving. Once grown, there would be meat without end.
"When the kits grow up, this cage will be too small,"
Van Han murmured, carefully placing some wild greens for the mother. "When the new shelter is finished, this spot will be for rabbits and sundries, that will do."
"Okay," she replied.
They returned to bed, but the birth left them half excited and sleepless.
"When the kits grow, we will have plenty of meat."
Van Han turned her head and asked calmly, "With these kits, how long can we hold out?"
"Barring accidents, we can last 1 year."
He smiled, eyes bright with confidence. He had a system on him. Even without the rabbits he could rely on the gift packs to learn and survive the year.
"Once the shelter is finished, we will tackle warmth."
He stroked her hair.
"They used clay and stone to build because winter neared, needing ventilation yet rainproofing." He knew the island often had storms, several sea gales would be tough. Van Han blushed slightly and asked gently, "When the prize arrives, what will you do?" "First, send you to the best school, then donate to the orphanage," he answered after thinking.
If she wished to study, he would fund the best school, and he would donate to the orphanage where he grew up for the head matron.
"And you?" she asked, curious.
His plans were all for others, not himself, which piqued her curiosity. "Do not forget, if we win first, there is a large land for me to manage." He smiled. With his own land, even the mushroom culture formula alone could earn a lot, not to mention later gift packs.
"Ah, you will not study?" she asked in surprise.
"No, studying is also for money, is it not?" Thinking about that was early. They must first survive here for 1 year, then discuss after getting the big prize.
Good night."
She pursed her lips, a complex look crossing her face.
With money, she was not that eager to return to school.
The girl rested her head on his chest and slowly closed her eyes. Good night, he whispered, while giving a mental command, mark it. A virtual screen popped up before him, the number 19 lit up. 2 more days remained
NK
until the
books.
next gift pack.
Chapter 168, Ill Intentions.
In the wild mountain forest, 2 men hacked a path, when one slipped and fell flat.
Li Huan, are you sure there is a bamboo grove this way?
Zhang Jinhua scolded, chopping the vine that had tripped him. Zhang Jinhua, with beeswax-tanned skin and about 32 years old, ran a small company, though his wife held the real say.
At his cousin Li Huan's urging, they signed up for the survival show and were selected.
His cousin, Li Huan, about 25, worked as a security guard at his company. They chose to bring a chopping knife, an iron pot, a hatchet, 2 sleeping bags, and 2 jackets. Of course, I saw it from the mountains, the direction should be this way.
Li Huan muttered, annoyed by daily nagging since landing on Xian Noyet Island.
They had descended from their first landing spot, where only wild greens grew, with lizards appearing rarely and always escaping.
I told you, do not be impatient, you dragged me here, now we starve and sleep poorly.
Zhang Jinhua snapped. Since landing, they had not eaten their fill even once, living on wild greens, with meat only on the first day from a lizard.
Move faster, we are almost there.
Li Huan swallowed his temper and steadied himself.
That is the 3rd time you said so, I think we are off course.
Zhang Jinhua sneered, for the reply was always the same.
Li Huan darkened and kept walking in silence. Or we quit and go back, I will treat you to a meat feast.
Zhang Jinhua added. Inwardly, Li Huan thought he refused to toil forever, especially for his cousin's firm with stingy pay.
Zhang Jinhua barked, you are money crazy, work properly, this survival nonsense only makes us hungry.
Look, the bamboo grove is here. Li Huan clenched his fist, about to explode, when the grove appeared ahead.
You actually found it, hurry and check.
Zhang Jinhua perked up and urged forward. They strode in and, after a few minutes, reached the grove's edge. Li Huan frowned at the ground dug into messy pits and said, others have challenged here.
Then we will find weak spots and get meat. Joy flashed on Zhang Jinhua's face as he shouted, anyone here?
Do not shout, even if they have meat, they will not share.
Li Huan stopped him.
He regretted dragging his cousin to team up, now that they had been chosen.
Why not, do not assume the worst of people.
Zhang Jinhua retorted. Silent, Li Huan thought, this is competition, why would rivals share meat?
Ah, there should be bamboo rats here.
Zhang Jinhua scanned the holes among the bamboo and brightened. Really, if there are bamboo rats, let us set our shelter here.
Li Huan asked quickly. Absolutely, and likely many.
Zhang Jinhua vowed, since so many burrows meant a large number.
Can we catch them? Li Huan pressed.
Easy, set rope snares at the burrow mouths. Zhang Jinhua said casually. He lay flat, peering into a hole, probing as a friend once taught him. Then we build here, the bamboo is ready to use. Assured, Li Huan took the hatchet to cut stalks.
Who are you two? A wary voice sounded behind them, and Louis Thursday and Louis Meng appeared, the elder sister speaking.
Louis Thursday's face hardened as she gripped a military knife, staring at the strangers, nerves taut. That morning the sisters had come to try their luck again, hoping to shoot bamboo rats, and met the 2 men moving in.
Ah, women?
Zhang Jinhua's eyes lit up as he sized them, thinking, twin sisters.
Sister, another lecher. Louis Meng whispered, clutching her bow. She loathed his burning gaze, like certain nasty boys at school.
Seeing the bow, Li Huan waved quickly, do not panic, we are like you, here for wild survival.
What are you doing here?
Louis Thursday pulled her sister behind her. In the wild, the worst fear is an accident with no timely rescue. Looking for food, we plan to build a shelter here, later we can watch out for each other.
Li Huan replied coolly.
Yes, 4 people can help, 2 schoolgirls surviving alone must be hard.
Zhang Jinhua added. With a mild smile. Sister, they have bad intentions.
Louis Meng breathed, do not trust them. Balancing the hatchet, Li Huan smiled without warmth, the show never forbids us from staying here. He guessed the producers wanted competition.
You. Louis Thursday opened her mouth, yet no rebuttal came.
Indeed, the show set no fixed zone, and she had considered relocating if things went poorly. All right, do not disturb us building the shelter.
Li Huan waved.
This place was too good, and he would brazen it out for the grand prize. With the big prize, he could rise at once and quit being a guard.
Let us go. Louis Thursday's face sank as she pulled her sister to leave. Sister, but we still want to catch bamboo rats. Louis Meng pouted, stepping carefully and peering into the grove. Chapter 169, Still Better to Move Away.
In the hiding place, Louis Thursday and Louis Meng stared at each other. We should just move, leave this place.
Louis Meng pouted.
No, here we have bamboo rats and mangoes, moving elsewhere may not be better.
Louis Thursday shook her head.
She also wanted to move, but it was not simple, too many worries. What if they could not find a better place?
There are predators here. Louis Meng shouted.
This morning they left the bamboo grove to explore elsewhere, but still found no meat, only a bundle of wild greens. They ran into Lai Hoa and Truong Chan Hoa, who set traps at the rat burrows and seized all the resources.
The sisters had no choice but to dig bamboo shoots. But in the afternoon, Lai Hoa and Lam Chan Hoa came again, using the excuse of visiting the hideout, finally driven away by Louis Meng's bow. Stay 2 more days, if not then we will move. Louis Thursday rubbed her temple, unwilling to give up the bamboo rats.
This was their only meat source, and though they saw a herd of deer, the red wolves made it too risky. What if they come again tomorrow, and the rats are already taken?
Louis Meng gritted her teeth. Then where do you suggest we go?
Louis Thursday asked helplessly, annoyed by Lai Hoa and maybe over the mountain. I feel there must be good food there.
Louis Meng tilted her head.
She had long wanted to explore far, if not for her sister she would have gone. What if it is worse there?
That must be considered, leaving then returning would be hard.
She really did not want to stay, the rats were hard to catch, only by luck, and now the burrows were taken. No, stay 2 more days, then decide.
Louis Thursday shook her head firmly. She thought maybe they could negotiate, coexist, gather enough before moving. Everything was decided by her sister. Sleep, we will talk tomorrow. Louis Thursday sighed and lay down.
Louis Meng also lay down, muttering, Sister, I want to eat meat.
Did you not say yesterday you would marry whoever gave you meat? Louis Thursday teased. Did I? I did not say that.
Louis Meng rolled her eyes, pretending.
Yes. No. Think carefully. Hoo. Are you pretending to sleep? No, hoo. Early the next morning, the sun rose, shining through the bamboo grove. Truong Chan Hoa carried a bamboo rat, whispering to Lai Hoa En, do you think they will agree to cooperate?
Yesterday they built their shelter, set traps, and caught 3 rats.
Following Lai Hoa En's idea, they plan to invite the sisters to cooperate. They will agree, we have food. Lai Hoa En said confidently.
He knew the sisters could not trap well, surely had little food. Truong Chan Hoa looked up at the drone, smiling, I think 4 people helping each other will increase the chance of survival.
Man and woman working together, and Lai Hoa En was single.
About 10 minutes later, they arrived at the sisters' hideout.
Truong Chan Hoa nudged Lai Hoa En to speak first.
He dared not act rashly, fearing his tigress at home watching. The sisters were sleeping but awoke to the voices.
Why are they here?
Louis Thursday said angrily. Louis Meng, hair messy, gritted her teeth, annoying, they are hateful. The 2 walked out in jackets and pants, saw the 2 men smiling.
Morning, ladies. Truong Chan Hoa greeted. Louis Thursday narrowed her eyes coldly, what is it?
Lu Waimong held her bow, unfriendly.
We came to seek cooperation.
Truong Chan Hoa smiled, eyes on them. I saw you dig burrows, that is wrong.
Truong Chan Hoa said seriously, we can give you rats, you can help us work. He lifted the rat, shaking to draw attention. We caught 3, think about my offer.
He smiled kindly.
Sorry, we will not agree, please leave.
Lu Wai Thursday said coldly. To her it was just exchanging rats. Think again, we can catch many, surely get rewards.
Lai Hoa and frowned to persuade. Especially as a lonely man, facing beauty, he desired. No need, please go back.
Lu Wai Thursday said calmly.
Truong Chan Hoa clenched his teeth, but with the drone above, he held back. Think about it, we mean no harm.
Lai Hoa enforced a smile. We are on the other side of the bamboo grove, if you decide, come find us.
Chapter 170, Soap Successfully Crafted.
So Phong pushed the thorny bush aside to open the gate, looked up at the clear sky and stretched, when suddenly the command echoed in his mind.
Mark!
A virtual screen flashed before his eyes, the number 20 shone brightly. Only one day left, it seems I must stay up late again tonight. His lips curved, he was eager for the next reward. Yesterday he had been busy at the camp, in the morning digging clay by the stream and cutting some green grass to feed the rabbit. In the afternoon he stayed to weave walls with rope. For ventilation and light, the arched doorway was designed to be large, when finished about 1.5 meters high and 2 meters wide. Now half was built, today it could be completed. On one side of the wall, a half-foot wide hole was left, meant for the toilet.
So Phong, are you going out today?
Van Han rubbed her sleepy eyes as she walked out. No, today we must finish the 3 walls. He shook his head, the shelter had to be completed quickly.
All right, I will prepare breakfast.
She yawned, carrying the iron pot with the coconut crab to the water channel to wash. There were 3 crabs, 2 had been eaten yesterday, only 1 remained.
All right.
He nodded and turned to the stone pile, taking advantage of the mild sun to build. He had already moved enough clay yesterday, now he only needed to focus on construction, planning to finish in 3 days. He mixed clay with water to soften it, then layered it with stones of suitable size to build the wall.
Half an hour later.
Here, he replied, washing his hands at the channel before entering the shelter.
During the meal, Van Han remembered the dried seaweed and asked, So Phong, do you know how to prepare seaweed?
Very simple. Chewing crab meat, he said, tear the dried seaweed, sprinkle oil and salt, mix well then bake in the oven.
He added, use the kiln, like firing pottery, just wait until the fire dies then put the seaweed inside, the remaining heat will finish it. Although cracked, the kiln patched with clay could still roast seaweed, as the heat required was not too high. Then I will try later. She nodded.
After more than 10 minutes, the 2 finished eating, the girl cleaned the pot and bowls. Van Han, test the soap to see if it works. He called her, bringing out the soap made earlier. He observed, saw it solidified, smelled it and found no strong scent. Under the limited conditions, this was already good. He planned to improve later, adding dried petals with ash and lard, so the soap would carry fragrance. Another way was to mix medicinal herbs against itching, making soap that soothed mosquito bites. But for now he must focus on building the shelter.
Ah, it works already?
She asked in surprise.
NK Books. Try it and see.
He scooped some soap, added water, and rubbed his hands, conveniently washing off crab grease. Splash splash. He rinsed in the channel, the grease quickly gone, leaving shiny hands.
The effect is really good.
He nodded in satisfaction, then said, later you can try washing your hair. She imitated him, washed, and exclaimed, I have never seen such good soap. She looked at her hands, they had not been this clean for a long time. Then she paused, shook her head and said, we should not waste oil, 1 bar is enough, the rest for cooking. Though she liked it, she knew oil was precious.
Online comments flared again.
Little Loli is so sensible, love her.
If my girlfriend were half as considerate, we would not have broken up. Later I will marry a little Loli, sweet and caring. Move aside, she is mine.
He resolved to finish the shelter, then go hunting, obtain more fat to make soap, because even in the wild one must live with quality. After resting, he moved the wooden table out, continued building. As the wall rose, he needed the table to reach higher. After 2 hours, the last stone was fixed, the first wall complete. It was 2 meters high, with a hole 1 meter wide and half a meter tall reserved for a window. So Phong sat to drink water, then resumed work on another wall. Chapter 171, Roasting Seaweed. Pack the gaps with clay for a tight seal, murmured Van Han, then she went to find clay. Soon she returned with a big lump, spread it evenly into the cracks, and sealed every fissure. Fire up the kiln first, she muttered, gathered a bundle of wood, and stoked the heat. She went back to the hideout and brought out the bamboo basket of seaweed rolls. While tearing the rolls, she recited the steps, so Phong said to shred the seaweed rolls first. She saw the iron pot half full, hesitated, and saved the rest for later meals. Oil and salt, just a little of each. Van Han spooned a bit of boar fat, drizzled it over the seaweed, then sprinkled a pinch of salt. She stirred with a bamboo spatula so oil and salt coated the seaweed evenly.
Add some dried coconut meat, the taste should be fine.
She took a piece from the clay jar.
She had sun-dried the coconut yesterday and sealed it in the jar.
With a boar tusk short knife, she cut the coconut into shreds and poured it into the pot to mix. The short knife, sharpened by So Phong last night, worked better than the chopping axe. She carried the pot to the kiln, touched the wall lightly, and felt a firm heat. For the first roast, she raked out some burning logs, slid the pot in, and sealed the kiln.
Check again in a moment.
Van Han dusted her hands, put away the deer hide, and tended other chores. After about 10 minutes, she returned to the kiln. She pulled the pot out with a stick and set it aside, the heat pricking her fingers.
Looks good, let So Phong taste first.
She smiled, seeing the seaweed turn deep green. If she tasted, she would likely praise it, since she was not picky at all. She carefully carried the pot inside, ready to pour it onto a clay platter to cool. Seaweed holds an egg white-like pigment from red algae, which breaks down with heat, fading the purple hue and turning soups or roasts green. As So Phong stood on a board building the wall, she arrived with the platter of roasted seaweed.
So Phong, it is ready, try it.
Van Han said with a gentle smile. Then I will wash my hands first, he laughed, rubbing off the clay. He lifted a slightly charred strip with chopsticks and popped it into his mouth.
Is it good? Her bright eyes brimmed with hope. I added dried coconut, does it taste odd? Then eat more of it. Van Han laughed, and tucked another big piece into his mouth.
She made half the batch into snacks, and sun-dried the rest for soup later. Chewing the seaweed, So Phong said softly, you should eat too, or it will soften and lose bite.
All right, I will try.
She tasted, her eyes lit up, and she teased, maybe I have a talent for cooking.
You have always been my cook. So Phong smiled.
Honestly, those words make my heart flutter. Van Han blushed, speaking very softly as she chewed.
He paused, leaned closer, and asked, Van Han, what did you say? Nothing, I will put things away, then help you.
Her face reddened more, she huffed lightly, and ran off.
Ha ha ha. So Phong laughed aloud.
She flinched a bit, then ran even faster. Meals in this life just gained a new spice, he murmured with a smile and kept building. After a while, Van Han returned with light steps. Let me carry the stones, so you need not climb up and down, she said, bending to lift a block. Okay. He paused, took the stone from her, and worked on. Time slipped by quietly in their busy rhythm. By afternoon the sun leaned west, and the harsh light softened. How do we handle the half-round main gate, she asked, worried that the weight would crush the arch. Make a T-shaped prop inside the stone doorway, he said, and went to prepare boards. He found a thigh-thick log, measured the doorway, chopped the end clean, and split a face into a raised lip. He joined 2 logs so the lip met a V-groove, wedged thin slats to keep it tight. The T-brace done, he tied bamboo across as a girder for the half-arch to bear on. That will do. He set the T-brace in the doorway, braced against the crown and the stones, and kept stacking without fear of collapse. He used a stone arch principle, each block pressing the next into a half-curve, with thrust carried to the sides. They worked on until dusk and fixed the last stone. It is really big. Van Haan wiped clay from her hands and admired the 3 finished walls. The new shelter was over 7 meters long and wide, and about 2 meters high, larger than their old rented room in the city. Tomorrow we fire the walls to a half-ceramic state, then start the roof.
So Phong smiled. The roof should take 1 day, then we can move in.
He planned to find dry timber, kiln the walls and floor into a half-ceramic finish, then raise the windows and the roof.
Chapter 172, marking the 21st day.
Inside the shelter, So Phong and Van Haan finished a late meal and sat together chatting. On the table were 2 cups of pine leaf tea and some seaweed roasted earlier.
This place is much more peaceful than the city,
Van Haan said softly, sipping tea and chewing a piece of seaweed.
From now on, we will live better. So Phong also sipped tea and spoke.
In the girl's bright eyes was expectation. Time passing was not important, what mattered was who she was with.
After we finish building the shelter, we will go out for a trip. So Phong said gently. They also used pine leaves for washing hair.
All right, Van Haan replied sweetly. On the trousers only few stitches remained. The girl spent half an hour braiding flax ropes to sew a deer hide coat.
The coat was still missing the last part, it would be done later.
So Phong was busy making a bamboo window, preparing for when the shelter was finished. He cut bamboo into 1.5 meter pieces, split into slats, tied with ropes in a grid pattern, then fixed with ropes on the frame.
So Phong, the coat is done,
Van Haan said happily, holding the finished deer hide. Her skillful hands tied both sides with ropes like shoelaces, ending in a bow, easy to wear and take off.
Very good, quite strong.
So Phong took the coat, checked it, then smiled. Try it on.
All right.
Van Haan took the coat inside.
How is it? Does it look good?
She asked expectantly, tugging the hem and spinning once. Van Haan rolled her eyes, pouted. That is also the prettiest savage.
Ha ha ha.
So Phong laughed loudly. Time slowly passed, they teased each other.
Enough, go bathe first, it is late.
So Phong said softly. Van Haan stroked her smooth long hair, feeling her scalp itchy, gently said, yes, tonight I need to wash my hair.
She took an iron pot of water, hung it on the wooden hook to boil.
Soon the water boiled, she poured into the wooden tub, added cold water to adjust the heat.
Sit down now. So Phong urged, holding a porcelain bowl of soap.
Okay. Van Haan was startled, her long lashes blinked, face blushed, then she sat down.
If it hurts, just say.
So Phong poured water from the bamboo tube onto her hair, rubbed a piece of soap in his palm. He gently spread soap on her hair, long fingers massaging her scalp.
Washing with soap was better than charcoal. I will rinse now, close your eyes.
He reminded, rinsing her long hair, fingers rubbing through black strands. Van Haan's heart filled with joy. This was the second time he washed her hair. His skill had improved, still a little painful but very happy.
After rinsing clean, So Phong said, do not move, I will dry your hair.
He took a towel, carefully dried her hair. His careful touch made Van Haan close her eyes, lips curved in joy, feeling relaxed.
Done. So Phong said warmly, shaking the towel.
Van Haan blushed, stood up with delight. So comfortable, washing with soap feels much cleaner. She touched her hair, finding it smoother.
Go bathe quickly. So Phong smiled. Yes. Van Haan blushed, grabbed clothes and went. Half an hour later, she finished bathing and lay in the sleeping bag.
She propped her chin, gazing at the fire, thinking a bed was different, not lying on the ground, even with grass it was not comfortable.
So Phong, you should bathe and sleep too. She called.
You sleep first, I will finish sharpening this short blade then sleep. So Phong held the boar tusk, preparing to sharpen it into a dagger.
All right.
Van Han nodded, lay on her side watching him. After more than 10 minutes, her eyes grew heavy and she drifted to sleep. So Phong turned, smiled, shook his head, stood to adjust her sleeping bag.
He tucked her blanket, took his jacket and soap, went to the heated stone to bathe. Time passed slowly. After an hour.
So Phong grinned, stood stretching his tired back. After bathing and sharpening the tusk for half an hour, he was exhausted. I wonder if midnight has passed. In the late night, hard to tell, he tried commanding in his mind, "Mark."
Ding.
7 days marked, received 1 basic gift pack. A mechanical sound rang in his mind, driving away drowsiness. He focused on the screen, saw 21 days shining. It turned out unknowingly he had stayed up until dawn, busy work had swept away time.
Chapter 173, Opening the Gift Pack. Ding. 36 Types of Trap Experience Gift Pack, Basic. Ding. Livestock Breeding Experience Gift Pack, Basic. Ding. Papermaking Experience Gift Pack, Basic. In So Phong's mind 3 voices echoed, each making his spirit tremble. Lie down first. He muttered, added wood to the fire, then slipped into his sleeping bag. With past experience, he was used to opening gift packs while lying inside. No. Van Han groaned softly, disturbed by his movement. Sleep.
So Phong hugged the girl and closed his eyes, while commanding, "Open the 36 Trap Experience gift pack."
Knowledge rushed into his mind, sweat beaded on his forehead.
He clenched his teeth, and after 10 minutes he finished absorbing it. 36 traps, exactly as named, each method explained with clear illustrations. There were traps for birds, fish, deer, covering every terrain.
Seems I have a way to deal with crocodile meat now.
After absorbing the knowledge, he felt more confident.
Some traps were designed for swamps, snowy ground, and forests. Open the Livestock Breeding Experience gift pack. He chanted. Ding. Livestock Breeding Experience gift pack transmitting. Knowledge flowed again, lasting nearly 20 minutes. Ho ho. He sighed, rubbed his forehead to ease the ache. Interesting, animals can be tamed, I can use this well. He smiled faintly. The gift gave him knowledge of breeding and taming wild beasts. He planned to try catching a small beast to test. Calming his thoughts, he continued, "Open the Papermaking Experience gift pack." This was the most exciting gift, solving many troubles, like lacking paper in the toilet. Ding. Papermaking Experience gift pack transmitting. In only 6 minutes it was done. So papermaking is not as hard as I thought. He smiled lightly. He checked, finding many simple methods with easy materials. Before, he only knew plant fibers were needed, but not the process. Now with full knowledge, he saw it was easy. In a few days I can try making paper, solve the toilet issue. He thought. Aha, time to sleep. He yawned, his head still sore. Hugging the girl's hand tightly, he drifted into sleep. The next morning, birds chirped in the forest. Lu Waimong held chopsticks, face bitter, staring at the pot of wild greens, then pouted, "Sister, let us leave." She recalled yesterday when the men caught bamboo rats, unwilling since the bamboo grove was theirs. She craved meat. "How long must we wait?" she complained while eating greens. "I will negotiate with them, bamboo rats cannot be all theirs," Lu Wai Thursday said firmly. She refused to lose this source of meat. If they moved, how would they survive without it? Lu Waimong rolled her eyes, bit her chopsticks, muttered, "Sister, they will not yield, give up." Lu Wai Thursday was silent, then sighed, "Even if we leave, we must prepare carefully. She knew the men forced cooperation, their intent clear. What else to prepare? We only have the sleeping bags, knife, bow, pot, and coats. Lu Waimong asked skeptically. Sister, you mean mangoes? She blinked. Yes, gather many mangoes, dry them, later we may not find them. Lu Wai Thursday said helplessly. Yes, harvest all. She decided harshly. After breakfast, they left to gather mangoes. Good morning, beauties, where are you going? Li Huan and Truong Chan Hoa appeared, holding bamboo rats, greeting with smiles. Last night they decided to try again today. Since they had food, thoughts shifted. Sister, let's go later. Lu Waimong whispered, pulled her sister inside, and shut the bamboo door. Li Huan and Truong Chan Hoa exchanged dark looks, then left helplessly. Chapter 174, A Terrifying Method. After breakfast, So Phong and Van Han began their busy day. The girl dried her freshly washed clothes in the camp while So Phong collected dry branches in the forest. When Van Han finished drying, she called into the forest, So Phong, where are you? So Phong heard her and quickly replied, Here I am. Soon, the girl in the fur shirt from yesterday entered the forest and stood by So Phong. Let me help you. Van Han's clear voice rang out as she bent to pick up branches. Today they wanted to fire 3 walls, so they needed a large amount of wood. The sun had shone for days, drying branches in the forest, so collecting them was not difficult, just time-consuming. Before the stone walls, the 2 stacked wood into a mound, their morning's result. So Phong, what will we do with this wood? Van Han asked curiously. Place the long pieces against the wall, the shorter ones inside on the floor. So Phong instructed softly. He had no time to fire bricks, so he thought of this practical method. All right. Van Han replied casually and carried wood inside the new shelter. After an hour, good. So Phong brushed off the dust, seeing the shelter covered in wood. This wood will burn for a long time. Van Han rubbed her sore arms and sighed. It is still not enough, we must keep adding while burning. So Phong sighed, realizing the day would be spent gathering wood. Then let me cook lunch to restore strength. Van Han said gently and turned inside. In the control room, the director noticed their strange actions, switching to their live feed and instructing Ha Min to guide the topic. Hearing the order, Ha Min redirected, let us watch this live scene. The screen cut to So Phong and Van Han. What is this? What is So Phong doing? Ha Min exclaimed, staring at the screen full of wood, so different from before. Is he not building a new shelter? Why gather so much wood? No Tin Noyet was puzzled. Ha Min turned to ask, Vai Din, what do you think? I do not understand. Te Vai Din replied coldly. No Tin Noyet blinked and asked, could So Phong be building this to store materials? Store wood? Vong Lam muttered and shook his head. That guess made no sense, one would not need stone walls for storage. Is it for the roof? Ha Min guessed, frowning. The shelter lacked a roof, but the wood was far too much, and filled the inside. That is more possible. No Tin Noyet nodded, but still puzzled. If we are not sure, let us keep watching. Ha Min smiled, guiding attention back to the live scene. At that moment, So Phong found dry grass, stuffed it between the wood, preparing to light it. He entered the shelter, then returned holding a torch. This fire will drive out all insects. He spotted a spider on the wall. So Phong crawled inside and lit the dry grass. Crackle! The fire spread to the dry branches. He quickly crawled out, then lit the other 3 walls the same way. Crackle! It is really hot. He stood at a distance, feeling the heat. In the control room, everyone was stunned. No Tin Noyet's face showed shock. Why did he light all the wood? What is this action? Ha Min was baffled. Te Vai Din frowned, confused, could it be? Vong Lam stared at the blazing shelter, a thought forming. No Tin Noyet leaned her chin, asking, Teacher Vong, you must know what So Phong intends?
Both Ha Min and Tay Vai Din looked at him, forcing him to speak.
Cough, cough, So Phong wants to fire the clay walls into semi-ceramic. Vong Lam coughed and explained. Ah, the entire walls into semi-ceramic? Ha Min and No Tin Noyet cried in surprise.
That idea is excellent, the shelter will be strong, even storms cannot harm it.
Vong Lam praised.
On the island, winter always brought storms.
So that is it.
No Tin Noyet said in wonder.
So Phong's idea is brilliant.
Ha Min praised. He was amazed, compared to other groups making bricks, this was smarter and more convenient. If I joined survival, I would choose to team with So Phong, he is too clever.
No Tin Noyet praised.
After many days of watching, no one was better than So Phong's group, and they had soap and meat daily.
Cough.
Ha Min choked on water upon hearing her.
Teacher Ha, are you all right? No Tin Noyet asked quickly. No, no problem.
Ha Min waved hurriedly.
Tay Vai Din pursed lips, closed eyes, and glanced at Ha Min's fluster. Chapter 175, An Unexpected Discovery.
So Phong stepped back a few paces, then turned to the girl beside him and said, Anger is good, this way when burning the wall it will be stronger. Clay under high heat turns into pottery, which meant their whole shelter was like being fired into a ceramic.
Van Han looked at the burning shelter, worry flickered in her eyes as she asked, But could this let the challengers find us? She raised her head and saw thick gray smoke from the burning wood rising into the sky. Probably not?
So Phong replied uncertainly, he had not thought of this. So much wood burned, the smoke was inevitable, now he only hoped it would not attract many challengers.
If someone comes with bad intent, then just drive them away.
Van Han clenched her small fist and hummed softly.
All right, drive them away.
So Phong smiled and stroked her head.
Hurry and eat lunch, then we will continue gathering wood.
Her face flushed, she pushed his back toward the shelter.
So Phong smiled, slipped an arm around her shoulder and gently said, We can rest for a while before going. Half an hour later, after lunch, they entered the forest again to gather wood, this time farther. Standing under a dead tree, So Phong patted the trunk and said, This tree has been dead many years, cut it down and burn it. He wanted to bring back larger logs to keep the fire longer. The tree was dry, gray-white, with rotten parts, about 7 or 8 meters tall. While Van Han was bending to pick up branches, she suddenly saw several bees flying overhead. She asked in surprise, So Phong, are those bees? Bees? His eyes lit up, he looked and asked quickly, Van Han, where are the bees? There, just flew over. She pointed toward a bush. Come, let us see. He strode forward. She hurried after him and asked, Will there be honey? Seeing bees here meant a hive and honey. Follow and we will know. He truly wanted honey. Honey had many benefits, it replenished nutrition, boosted immunity, and after sleepless nights a cup of honey water restored energy. Since arriving on the island, they rarely ate sweet food, their sugar was consumed without replenishment, making them prone to illness. Honey now was precious, rich in fructose and glucose, highly beneficial for the body. He planned once the new shelter was built to find more nutritious ingredients to improve their health. More than 20 minutes later, they slowed when ahead many bees swirled in the air. So many bees, the hive must be large. Van Han said softly. And the honey will be plenty. So Phong smiled. But so many bees, what can we do? We have no protection. She looked at the swarm with fear, if surrounded she would swell all over. He observed the surroundings then said, You wait here, I will go look. No, too dangerous, if you go then I go too. She shook her head firmly. He stroked her hair and comforted, You are so pretty, if stung your face would swell like a pig head. Disgusting. She rolled her eyes and warned, But be careful, look and return quickly. She was truly worried, but also could not let him go alone. All bees had venom, though in varying strength. Normal stings only caused swelling, worse ones could cause fever, the most venomous like hornets could cause shock and death.
She bit her lip, compromised, then do not get too close, if danger then run.
I know. He nodded.
He hid his aura and moved carefully forward.
Can they not see me?
He frowned, noticing the bees ignored him, as if he were a tree.
He thought, seems aura concealment works.
After a few minutes he passed through the woods and saw a rock 5 or 6 meters high and 3 or 4 meters wide.
In a crack there was a hive as big as a wash basin. Such a huge hive.
His eyes brightened. The hive hung 2 meters above ground, bees flying in and out. They were earthy yellow, with 2 black rings on their tails, each only peanut size but countless in number.
With such a hive, the honey must be much. I need to prepare before taking it.
He murmured, eyes scanning around.
Chapter 176, 3 seconds late and eaten alive? He carefully walked forward, crouching down to examine the messy footprints. Bear tracks. So Phong frowned.
He touched the prints, recalling knowledge and images in his mind. Van Han stood still, her eyes fixed on the direction where So Phong disappeared, her heart full of anxious waiting.
I am back.
So Phong emerged from the bushes.
So Phong, are you all right?
Van Han rushed close, her eyes scanning his body like a detector.
I am fine, all good.
So Phong smiled reassuringly. Van Han tugged his sleeve, carefully checking his arms, even lifting his clothes to see if bees had stung him.
After examining without finding any wounds, she finally relaxed. So, did you find anything? She asked.
I saw a beehive, there should be plenty of honey, but I also found something else.
So Phong said seriously. Van Han's curiosity was piqued. She quickly asked, what did you find? So Phong looked around, sighed, bear tracks, droppings, and urine. A bear?
Van Han widened her eyes in fright, urging, then let us go quickly, forget the honey.
So Phong calmly analyzed, we will return to fetch some tools, then cut a bit of honey to bring back. Van Han frowned and objected, no, too dangerous, what if the bear comes?
So Phong gently rubbed her furrowed brows, we will return with torches and bows, be cautious and it will be fine.
But...
Van Han pursed her lips, wanting to argue more.
Do not worry, nothing will happen.
So Phong smiled confidently, let us go back, the wood is almost burned out. They returned, bundled the gathered logs, and dragged them to camp. By the time they came back, 2/3 of the logs had burned, flames still strong, the clay turned black. Come, while it is still early, we can cut honey and fetch more logs.
So Phong said. They carried axes, torches, fire starters, and bamboo bows.
Van Han hugged a clay jar, muttering, be careful, if we see the bear, we will run. Van Han, never run if alone with a bear, you cannot outrun it.
So Phong shook his head. Running provokes the bear.
Do not be fooled by its bulk, it can run 40 kilometers an hour for long minutes without rest.
Then climb a tree, it is too heavy to climb. Van Han insisted. Bears can climb, and fast. So Phong shook his head again. Then we fight it. Van Han blurted desperately. Then what do we do? She asked grimly.
So Phong explained, sudden size change might confuse animals into stopping or leaving.
If not, stand firm and retreat slowly, a chance to escape.
Some say lying down pretending dead makes bears leave, but in reality it can hasten death, as bears eat rotting corpses too.
Van Han twitched her lips, rolled her eyes and sneered, so that means 3 seconds late and eaten alive?
So Phong forced a bitter smile, embarrassed. The live audience burst with comments.
So Phong wants honey, forgetting bears love honey most. Haha, little Lowly struck him speechless.
Actually his methods have a chance of working.
If not, is it like she said, 3 seconds late and eaten alive? Just lie down dead. You think it is only dumb bears?
Van Han quickened her pace, walking beside So Phong. She said earnestly, So Phong, forget the honey, let us just gather wood, Do not worry, I am confident. So Phong raised his fire starter. If the bear comes, fire will scare it.
Van Han narrowed her eyes. Will it work?
Of course, I learned this from TV. He patted his chest confidently. In truth, it was knowledge from the system. Bears fear fire and bright light, they can be scared off. Their vision is poor, thick smoke can blind them, while wind helps cover scents, giving escape chances.
Fine, but be careful. Van Han sighed. Arguing was useless. They followed the tracks back to the beehive. Van Han, wait here, I will return quickly. So Phong took the clay jar.
Van Han frowned. You must be careful, if you do not return, I will not leave.
Do not worry, I will be safe.
So Phong replied firmly. He gathered dry grass, lit a torch, and walked toward the hive. Van Han bit her lip, watching his back disappear into the bushes.
Chapter 177, Swelling like Pig Hooves.
He truly did not want to meet a bear now, since his preparations were not complete. If he really met one, he could only run away. The torch was lit before it even reached the hive. The fire drew the bees' attention, and the swarm buzzed around above his head. He slipped under a big rock, set the clay jar aside, then crouched and lit dry grass with the torch. The grass caught fire, smoke billowed upward, and he raised it high to drive the bees away from the hive. The bees became confused by the smoke, some fell dazed to the ground. After a while of smoking, he placed the burning grass by the hive, letting the smoke drift under the rock. He raised the hatchet, bit his teeth, jumped up, and scraped off a big chunk of the hive. He quickly held the jar, put the hive piece inside, and caught the honey dripping down. Only curses can show my feelings.
Do you want to die? So much honey, yet you take it right here?
I can already imagine his face swelling like a pig's head.
So scary, I dare not look.
The little witch said, Fishfins 188, be careful So Phong. He did not know what happened in the room, nor did he care. The swarm went mad but dared not near the hive, fumbling in the smoke.
TSS.
He shook his hands, gasping, it really hurts. His hands were stung 3 or 4 times, red and swollen.
Golden honey dripped. After 3 or 4 minutes it slowed, 1 drop at a time.
He hesitated, then left half the hive for later. He sealed the jar with leaves, picked up the torch, stamped out the fire.
Holding the jar, he ran toward the girl, shouting, Run Van Han, the bees are coming.
Behind him dozens chased, forcing him to wave the torch.
Far away, she heard his voice, saw him, and ran to hide. She bent over, breathing hard. So Phong, are you all right? I am fine, just tired. He sat gasping, smiling faintly.
The girl examined him, then held his hand. She bit her lip, seeing his swollen hands, gently asked.
Just a little. He smiled. She glared, voice low, You still laugh, your hands swell like pig hooves. It is fine, wash with soap water and herbs, it will heal.
He stood, dusted himself, carried the jar.
Bee venom is acid, soap water is alkaline, they neutralize. Give me the jar, stop pretending.
She rolled her eyes, took it.
Let us go back first. He waved awkwardly. The stings really hurt. Soon they returned to camp. Sit still, I will make soap water.
She pointed at the stream.
All right. He sat obediently. I will wash first.
She pursed lips, grabbed his hand.
Wait, 2 stingers remain, we must remove them.
He stopped her.
NK
Where?
Books.
She looked carefully. Sweat on his brow, he whispered, at the wrist joint.
I see, do not move, I will pull them.
She said softly.
No needle, only this will do.
She bit her lip, picked out the stingers. Soon both were removed. He smiled, much better. She poured soap water on his hand.
It feels better, not so painful. He nodded. Then let us wash again.
She sighed, added more soap, washed his hands. At this time, she did not care whether the soap was still strong. In the room, the viewers watched. I also want to be stung, let the little lowly tease me. How did he do it? No suit, only a few stings? The way does not matter, the scene is sweet. He is lucky, not meeting a bear, such pity. That man looks more like a bear. Little lowly, I was stung too, check me. Fourth watch, support please. Chapter 178, Bigger and More Anxious. Lu Wai Thursday and Lu Wai Mong were picking mangoes. Sister, those two are so annoying. Lu Wai Mong raised her head, holding a bamboo stick to knock mangoes while talking about today. They had planned to pick mangoes in the morning, but ran into Li Hoa and Truong Chan Hoa. To hide the mango tree, they went back to their hideout, waiting for the chance to return. Unexpectedly, as soon as they stepped out, the two men appeared on time, following them everywhere. Using cooperation as an excuse, they stuck behind, hard to shake off. That made the sisters angry and helpless, so they picked some wild greens and hurried back. Not until late afternoon did they find a chance, carrying baskets and bamboo sticks to the tree. Good, it is getting dark, hurry to pick. Lu Wai Thursday picked while thinking of the two men, feeling troubled. Lu Wai Mong threw the stick, rolled her sleeves, and said, Sister, I will climb up to pick faster. Some mangoes were already ripe, hitting with a stick made them break, hard to keep. Fine, be careful. Lu Wai Thursday reminded. Rest assured, I climbed before. Lu Wai Mong hugged the trunk and climbed. Lu Wai Thursday twitched her lips, holding laughter. Seeing her sister climbing like a bear, her gloom faded. Lu Wai Mong turned back, shouting, Sister, what are you doing? Help push my butt, I cannot reach. Coming. Lu Wai Thursday pressed her lips, lifted her sister, even squeezed once. Soon Lu Wai Mong stood on a branch 3 meters high, holding the trunk. She asked, Sister, did you secretly squeeze my butt? Lu Wai Thursday turned away, unwilling to admit, her sister's hips were even larger. Really? Lu Wai Mong squinted in doubt. Of course true. Lu Wai Thursday rolled her eyes, quickly pick, it is getting dark. Then you catch below. Lu Wai Mong picked and dropped mangoes. Okay. Lu Wai Thursday reached, but the fruit slipped and fell. Sister, that was ripe, it broke. Lu Wai Mong shouted. Again. Lu Wai Thursday said. She raised both hands, no problem, I am ready. Another mango dropped, again slipping through. Sister. Lu Wai Mong's face darkened. Lu Wai Thursday looked at the broken fruit, thinking, again. Sister, please stop. One last time. As the sun set, Lu Wai Mong picked most mangoes, filling the basket. Come down, it is dark, we must go back. Lu Wai Thursday called. At her feet, 7 or 8 broken mangoes lay silently. In the basket, most were green, only a few ripe. Okay. Lu Wai Mong leaned, slowly climbing down. Suddenly, she saw smoke rising beyond the hill. Sister, smoke over there. She pointed. Smoke? I cannot see. Lu Wai Thursday frowned, looking far but saw nothing. Right beyond the hill. Lu Wai Mong described. If there were people there, maybe it was a good place. After today, Lu Wai Thursday decided to move and find another place. She only feared if those people were as annoying as the two men. Remember. Lu Wai Mong replied, climbing down. Lu Wai Thursday watched her like a bear, and reminded, be careful, do not flatten your chest, it is already small. Shut up, I will still grow, I will surpass you. Lu Wai Mong pouted. Lu Wai Thursday calmly said, you have no chance. Soon, with help, she climbed down safely. She patted her hands and said, Sister, should we cut the tree? She wanted to leave nothing for those men. No, mango trees bear once a year, only in warm climates can they fruit again. Lu Wai Thursday shook her head.
Thus, mangoes only once a year, rare for 2 or 3 times. So maybe no fruit, winter is coming, will it snow here?
Lu Waimong rubbed her hands.
Snow? Likely not.
Lu Wai Thursday frowned, the program team should not be so cruel.
Without warm clothes, if snow came, they could not last. In the studio, viewers laughed. No, you are wrong, the team is cruel. Snow really, what will they do, no coats?
Moon Island has not only snow but storms.
Chapter 179, Processing Beeswax.
Looking down from above, scattered fires could be seen across the Xianyu Island, lit by contestants. At their hideout, Van Han cooked fish with wild vegetables and wood ear mushrooms into a fish soup for So Phong. Meanwhile, he worked among stones, adding firewood to strengthen the shelter.
After returning with honey and tending wounds, they continued collecting wood.
At first, Van Han disagreed, but when she saw his swelling reduced after washing with soap water, she compromised.
Burn for 2 more hours, it should be fine. So Phong threw logs through the stone doorway into the shelter.
Behind him lay a pile of wood enough to last 2 hours, gathered earlier at night.
And tomorrow we must go out again,
he muttered, planning to build the roof frame with logs, then cover it with banana leaves and clay.
So Phong, dinner is ready.
Her voice came from inside.
Coming.
He dusted his hands and entered. Van Han had set fish soup in clay bowls and a salad of wild greens with wild berries. She handed him chopsticks, softly saying, "Sit down quickly." He sat by the fire on a wooden stool, sipping soup. He smiled and praised, "Your cooking is still as good as ever.
Eat more if you like it." She laughed gently. Watching his hand holding the bowl, she asked worriedly, "How does your hand feel?" "It does not hurt now, see, the swelling is gone." He raised his left hand and shook it. "Ah, it really is less swollen." She grabbed his hand, surprised, turning it over to check. After half an hour they finished eating and sat by the wooden table. He brought out the honey jar, scooping combs, leaving thick golden honey filling 1/3 of the jar. "It smells so good. Mix it with warm water, it adds sugar and helps you sleep." He set the comb on the table, piercing it so honey flowed out. Honey is best mixed with warm water below 60 degrees, ideally around 40 degrees to keep nutrients. "All right." She nodded. She fetched 2 bowls, scooped honey and warm water, and stirred. Ah. Girls love sweets, and she was no exception. "Drink some before bed every night, it is good for the skin and even enlarges the chest, cough cough." He explained, but grew embarrassed at the end. Blushing, she squinted suspiciously, "Really?" "Cough cough, honey water is delicious." He coughed, quickly changing the subject, sipping honey. She glared at him, then glanced at her chest before finishing her honey water. The live audience erupted, comments flooding the screen. "Whatever, I will try, I want to be a proud woman with curves." The lowly cares about her size. "Flat chest is fine, it saves fabric for the nation." Toonie appeared, "Give her a chair. This honeycomb can be made into beeswax." Van Han recalled how the orphanage director once made beeswax from honeycomb. Honeycomb is valuable, boiled into wax to eat or make candles. Beeswax, naturally extracted, can be eaten, soothes itching, relieves pain, nourishes blood, and beautifies skin. It makes the skin smooth and rosy. "Let me do it, I know how." She eagerly raised her hand. "All right, I will add more firewood to the stone wall." He stood. "The pot is too small, the comb must be pressed in." She muttered, pushing it down with both hands, then added water. She lit a torch, and soon the water boiled, melting the comb into a yellow milky liquid with floating impurities. "We must wait until it cools, then the dirt will sink." She carefully placed the pot on the table to cool, skimming off foam. When cooled, beeswax would solidify. Over 10 minutes later, he returned, tossing wood into the fire for the final burn. "Van Han, how is it?" he asked curiously. Wait for it to cool, then we will have beeswax.
She pointed at the yellow liquid in the pot.
Then wash your face first, the water will not cool quickly. He smiled. Okay.
She replied lightly, sweat covering her from collecting wood, feeling sticky.
Chapter 180, quite busy.
Su Feng slightly curved his lips, opened his eyes, yawned, then turned to look at the girl resting on his chest. A new day had begun. He gently moved away from her, carefully crawled out of the sleeping bag, put on clothes and shoes, and stepped out of the hideout.
Mark it.
The command sounded in Su Feng's mind. He entered the wooden shed, saw that in the iron pot water floated a golden solid layer. That was beeswax.
Still a bit of impurity, better purify it once more.
Su Feng looked at the wax mixed with dust.
He crouched down, replaced the water, split the wax into blocks, and put them back into the pot.
The fire had gone out. Since having the thorn barricade, he no longer had to stay awake all night. Su Feng drilled wood to make fire, relit the stove, and boiled the wax again to clean it. He stood up, stretched his tired back, pushed open the thorn gate, went to the trench, scooped cold water to wash his face. The morning water was icy and woke him up. Before his eyes was darkness, the ground covered with charcoal, the 3 stone walls still intact but completely blackened. This will take a lot of effort to clean. Su Feng's face showed a wry smile. Charcoal formed small mounds, the wall surface was also covered in ash, all needed to be cleaned later.
Crack crack. Bang bang. Seems it succeeded. Su Feng smiled, walked around the walls. Bang bang.
His hand hit the wall producing deep solid sounds.
Su Feng, how is it? Did it work?
Yun Han lifted her messy hair, wore straw shoes, and carefully stepped over the charcoal to him. Very successful, half turned into ceramic, no fear of collapse when it rains. Su Feng replied smiling.
Looks solid.
Yun Han tapped the wall, her eyes glanced at the black stains, her pretty face filled with a wry smile. Seems we will be busy. Su Feng curved his lips, placed his arm on her shoulder, gently said, Later I will make a broom. Then I will prepare breakfast first, after eating we will have strength to work. Yun Han blushed, stepped carefully back to the hideout. Su Feng watched her shy look, feeling cheerful. He went to the forest, carried back broken branches, all were twigs. Making a broom was simple, tie the twigs with rope, stick a wooden pole through, the broom was done. He made another one for cleaning inside the shelter. Now the task was to remove large charcoal, the small residue would be swept later. He returned to the hideout, soon carried 2 bamboo baskets out, filled them with big charcoal, and dumped them onto a clearing. These coals he planned to crush and bury into soil as fertilizer for wild vegetables. Nearly an hour later, Su Feng had cleared all big charcoal, only small residue remained to sweep.
Books. He intended to clean again when building the roof. Su Feng, breakfast is ready.
Yun Han called from the hideout.
Coming.
Su Feng replied, clapped his blackened hands, smiled wryly, and went to wash at the trench. He washed, then came back to eat. She had cooked venison stew with fungus and a smoked fish. Su Feng also planned to find chicken mushrooms to make a nourishing meal. Yun Han, pick some more fungus, and see if there are chicken mushrooms. Su Feng handed her the basket and short knife. I will cut banana leaves, be careful, do not go far.
All right. Yun Han nodded, took the knife, and picked fungus nearby.
Su Feng entered the banana grove, carefully walked over rocks, looked up and saw a yellow bunch of bananas.
Cut and leave for days, then edible.
Su Feng smiled, chopped the bunch with his axe, and put it into the basket. He checked others, still green. He cut some leaves, each plant only 4 or 5 to let them photosynthesize. After half an hour, he had tied the leaves neatly. Turning out of the ravine, he looked for her.
Su Feng, see what I found.
Yun Han's voice came.
What is it? He went quickly.
Minutes later, he reached her. Su Feng, so many chicken mushrooms here.
Yun Han exclaimed, pointing behind her. You are truly my lucky star. Su Feng was delighted. Enough mushrooms for many meals.
He crouched, picked them carefully. Hee, I also picked fungus. Yun Han laughed, turned to show her basket. It was half full, with many wild greens, fungus,
NK
and nourishing
books.
plants.